Hello and welcome to video number 5 of number systems, our first chapter in mathematics of class 9. We had started our first exercise in the last class and we are supposed to do our last main, which is writing whether the given statements are true or false, and also we have to give reasons that why it is true or why it is false. And after this we'll be going to our next topic called as irrational numbers. But let us first discuss what are the reasons for this to be true or false. Question number 1 tells every natural number is a whole number. Do you think this answer is true? Every natural number. Let us recall what are natural numbers. Natural numbers are a set of all positive numbers greater than 0. And whole numbers are all numbers which also include 0. All positive numbers which include 0. So according to the statement, every natural number is a whole number. So every number that is present in natural number will also be present in whole number, right? That's why the answer is supposed to be true. And what reason will you write here? What reason will you write? So true, since the collection of all whole numbers contains all natural numbers also. So this is the statement. Every natural number is a whole number. This answer is true. The reason for this is the collection of all whole numbers. That means all whole numbers will also have natural numbers. Let us come to second question. Every integer is a whole number. Every integer. Integers are given by z. They are negative numbers, 0, positive numbers, etc. But when I say whole numbers are also like they only start from 0, all positive numbers. So is there any chance that in whole numbers we have negative integers? No, right? But in integers we also have negative integer. So the statement is every integer is a whole number. So can I tell minus 3 is a whole number? No, because it is not in whole numbers. Or minus 2, minus 1. They are also only integers, they can't be called as whole numbers. So the answer for this is false. Example, minus 3, minus 2, etc. are not whole numbers. So this is going to be a reason. Finally, coming to third one. There is no need to mention this, otherwise if you want to write it, it's your choice. Every rational number is a whole number. Every rational number is a whole number. Try to think about it. What do you think the answer is? The answer is supposed to be false. What are rational numbers? Numbers that can be written in the form of p by q. What are whole numbers? Starts with 0, all positive number. Right? Now when you say rational number, 1 by 2. Is it a rational number? Yes, because it is in the form of p by q. Can you call this number as a whole number? No. That means every rational number cannot be called as a whole number. But every whole number can be called as a rational number. We have seen that many times. So you can't say that every rational number, not only 1 by 2, 3 by 4, 7 by 10. You can take any example like that, and such fractions are not whole numbers. In whole numbers you can have only 0 and all positive numbers without any fractions or decimals. Therefore, the answer is false. For example, 1 by 2 is a rational number, but not a whole number. So this is supposed to be your reason. So they may ask questions in different way. What you have to at least expect is don't depend only on questions that are asked directly in textbook. There can be questions, but the concept remains same even if the questions are asked differently. I hope you have understood this main of telling any statement as true or false along with reasons. Please go through the definitions again. It will be very clear to you. Let us begin our next topic. I'll just give the introduction and stop. And in the next class, we will see in detail how to solve problems on the next topic. So our next topic is called as irrational numbers. How is it different? Right? I would say it is the opposite of rational numbers. But for that you should know what are rational numbers, right? So we have learned in last class, rational numbers are those which can be written in the form of P by Q. Where, what is the condition? Q can't be 0. Why do you think Q should not be 0? Because if this becomes 0, then there will be no rational number only remaining. Any number divided by 0 will become 0 and it will not be rational after that. That's why Q can be any number but it can't be 0. So what is the definition of rational numbers again? Any number that can be written in the form of P divided by Q. P by Q, A by B, M by N, X divided by Y, whatever you want. But fraction, numerator divided by denominator. So if this is the case, what do you think is irrational number? A number that cannot be written in the form of P by Q. It is just opposite of rational numbers. So we'll go to the definition of that. So numbers that cannot be written in the form of P divided by Q, where Q is not equal to 0. The condition remains same. So a lot of numbers cannot take the form of P by Q. Example, we have discussed all natural numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. can be written as rational numbers. How? If I have a number 2, how do I write it in rational form? Just by writing as 2 by 1. Or if I have a whole number like 0, this also can be written in the rational form like 0 by 1. Or if I have an integer like -3, I can write this also in rational form. But there are numbers that can't be written in the form of P by Q. Such numbers are called as irrational numbers. Let us write down some examples. Some examples of irrational numbers are √2, √3, √15, 0.110011000011, anything. Yeah. So all these are examples of irrational numbers because these numbers cannot be written in the form of P by Q. Now one thing that we have to understand here is not every root number can be called as irrational. Example, instead of this, if I have something like √9 or √36 or √25, can you call these numbers also as irrational? No, they are rational numbers. Now this will create confusion. And in first place I am telling I have written some numbers with root as irrational. But again I have written some numbers with root only, but I am telling they are rational, they are not irrational. How to prove it? So these are the numbers that have square roots. What are square roots? We have learned it in 8th standard, squares and square roots chapter. Let us go back to our basic knowledge. Example, when I have 1 square is 1. 1 square means 1 should be multiplied 2 times. Similarly, 2 square, 2 2s are 4. Or 3 square, 3 3s are 9. Like that. And if I have to convert them to square root, what I should do? So square root, this square if I take here it will become square root. Square root of 4 will be 2. 2 square is 4, so the square root of 4 will be 2. Similarly, square root of 9 will be 3 because 3 3s are 9. 4 square, what is 4 square? 16. Therefore, what will be the square root of 16? 4. Or take 25. What is 5 square? 25. But what is the square root of 25? 5. So the numbers which have perfect square root, cannot be called as irrational numbers. Now, if you see, square root of 9 is 3. So it has square root. But for 2, there is no square root. Square root of 36 is 6 because 6 6 are 36. Same number multiplied 2 times gives a number called as square number. Right? So 36. Which is square root of 36 is 6. Root 25. Square root of 25 is 5. So the numbers that have perfect square root, they cannot be called as irrational numbers. But whereas the numbers like √2, √3, √15, these are the examples of irrational numbers because they don't have square root. I hope you are understanding that. Yes? Now, why are we telling that these perfect square roots, I mean the numbers which have perfect square root, are not irrational number? Because after converting them to their square root, finding their square root, I can write them as rational number. Example, square root of 9 is 3. Is that correct? And 3 can be written as 3 by 1. And this is in the form of p by q. And when I say p by q, it will become rational number. Similarly, 6. Square root of 36 is 6. So 6 can be written as 6 by 1. 6 by 1 is in the form of p by q. P by q means rational. Square root of 25 is 5. 5 can be written as 5 by 1. 5 by 1 is in the form of p by q. And p by q is a rational number. Whereas root 2, nothing. No rational number. That's why it becomes irrational number, because there is no square root. Similarly for root 3, root 15 and many decimal numbers like that. I hope you have understood what are irrational numbers. Last thing to tell, there is something called as real numbers. Real numbers is a collection of all rational numbers and irrational numbers. It is given by the letter capital R. So all rational numbers and irrational numbers together rational numbers and irrational numbers are called as real numbers. So we have learned natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, rational numbers, irrational numbers, and all these numbers come in one single category called as real numbers given by capital R. Please make notes of this. Try to write the definition of irrational numbers, everything in your notes, and then we'll start the problems on this in the next class. Thank you very much for watching the video.